are you today, Al?
Hey, Tori, I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Would you like to give a little bit of background about yourself?
I'd like to give a little quick, brief history since we're in the city, this beautiful city of Fort Myers, Florida. Woohoo! I was born and raised here. I graduated in 1985, and in 1985, I was tricked into the United States Navy. So I am a veteran. I did 20 years in the Navy. I was an air traffic controller there. I retired in 2005, came back home, started a black radio station because
Okay.
during that time in 2005 there was no black radio station. Of course, it was on a non to not to interfere basis kind of hint. It was a little underground radio station, but it worked out well. Gospel
Okay.
radio, gospel programs, talk programs, music was a lot of fun. That ended in 2011.
Okay.
And since then, I was able to go to school under the post 9/11 GI Bill. I received my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree in supervision and management in 2015.
Okay.
And since then, I have been working for one of the major delivery corporations in America, and right here in Fort Myers as well. Okay, so me being a male over 50 years old, not going to tell you my exact age, but I like people to guess. But it will probably take me between 3 weeks to 3 months. I feel that as long as we're communicating, we have chemistry. Every time she calls me, I'm excited about her call, and vice versa. We start doing things immediately together, like dinners, and she's coming over, and I'm cooking for her, and we just vibe real good. I know that she's a keeper. We do things for each other almost right away.
So you don't think 3 weeks is quick? That's kind of like you're still in the honeymoon phase.
Well, 3 weeks for older folks such as myself, like I said, we already know what we're looking for. We know that if this woman comes along and she is attractive, she has we'll say her stuff together, and she finds me attractive, we already know that it's going to be on. We know that we can communicate, we can talk. It doesn't take long. If you're younger, it might take a little longer because you don't have that life experience, and you have to go through some things to
Okay.
find out if this might be the right person.
Okay. Okay.
Older folks have already been through it. That's not necessary. I mean, like I said, I think it's based on age level and maturity. I would say that if you've never been married and we'll say between the ages of 20 to 40, I say 2 years is good. You get to know one another, because sometimes as for a male, sometimes you haven't gotten that boy out the man, if you know what I mean. And
Right.
sometimes it takes a woman to get him straight. And they might go back and forth once in a while, but he'll realize that, okay, this is the one for me. So, and that does take time, so he might never change, or she may never change. Maybe she still like hanging with the girls, and not realizing that, I'm going to be getting married soon. I need to calm down. So yeah, 2 years. So, 1 year if you're maybe 40, 45 or older, because there's no need to go that. No, we already know what we're looking for. I know that you're the
Now,
one. Yeah, if they went over 3 years, someone doesn't want to commit. Someone don't want to just give up the I don't know, bachelor card or single card. They just don't want to put that ball and chain on them just yet. Give up freedom, give up doing what they want to do. Just not. Yeah, I mean, it's like I love you, but let me just have a little bit more fun.
right.
So just things are working well. Why get married right away? I'm here with you. You're here with me. Like I said, someone might be getting, that sounds like cold feet. Let me just have a little bit more fun before we tie the knot. I'm just
Right.
not ready. One deal breaker is if I have someone and she still has baby daddy issues. Not baby daddy drama, but baby daddy issues. For instance, she was dating a gentleman. She had a baby from someone that was separated. And I guess maybe she thought that him being separated, he was going to leave his wife and get with her. So, and it made my friend feel like he was just here temporary. I mean, he had fun with her, but it felt like, okay, if this baby daddy gentleman does come back, then he's out. So what's the point in hanging around if you feel like a standby? along that same line, if, you know, the person is sort of still in love with someone else. You know, they have you, they love you, but their heart belongs to someone else, and they hope that later on in life they can get together.
How can you tell? How can you tell that their heart is still elsewhere?
Maybe certain things that you do, if she's talking about him, like my ex-boyfriend, we used to do this together. And I remember when we did this together, and I heard from him the other day, we talked for a little bit. You know, it's like, what? You know, what gives there? You know, and it starts to be a little bit suspicious on some things. So.
I want to take a break real quick.
Okay.
To give a shout out to my girls. Karina got this necklace for me from Peru.
Ooh.
And Adela got this necklace for me from Guatemala. So I just wanted to give a shout out. These are some of my pieces I've been wearing in my videos.
Nice.
So.
First of all, just be good role models to your daughters. If you're a single mom with daughters, one thing that you don't want to do, and this happened in the past a lot, well, not really the past, but it may still go on now. Women always talked about, I need a man, I got to get a man, I got to have a man. You shouldn't be saying that around your daughters, because your daughter feels that, well, the only way to make it in life, first of all, you have to get a man. You show your daughter, how can I put it? If you do have a relationship, don't bring men into your home constantly. Letting daughters see, you know, if you have a friend, fine. But if you're bringing this friend home and that friend home, that set of bad precedents to your daughter, and you don't want to do that. You should encourage your daughters to take one step further than where you have taken. For instance, if you received a high school diploma, you should encourage your daughters to get an associate's degree. If you received an associate's degree, you should insist that your daughter try and get a bachelor's degree. Motivate them to move up and do better than what you have.
I feel like when I was dating, I didn't have any type of guidance on what type of man I should get. My mom used to say, find someone in church, and my dad didn't say anything. I just went for whoever was fun. And that was like, that was totally a mess. I'm happy I have my kids, but the person was not a good person to have children with. Really, I wasn't trying to bash my parents. Really, the point of me asking this is that I've talked to several male friends, and they've told me experiences they've had with women, thinking the only thing they need to bring to the relationship is sex and a pretty face, and they don't think they have to contribute anything more to the relationship. And these men are like exhausted with constantly trying to take care of everything, pay for stuff. Oftentimes the men are like, well, what do you need to do? I don't know if it's like we don't properly teach our daughters how to carry themselves and what to bring to the table. Have you had these experiences a lot with different women where they felt like they didn't need to bring much to the table?
In my early days, but now as a mature adult, the women that I have dealt with have always brought something to the table. The one relationship that I was dealing with most recently was always bringing something to the table. We were always doing for each other. I would surprise her with flowers maybe once every 2 weeks, just to keep that going. And I think that relationships should be about doing for each other. I mean, that's old school for a woman to expect that all she has to do is show you some love, maybe cook you dinner, and that's it. Because money, like they say, doesn't grow on trees. And I like to do for you, but I can't do for you all the time. You know, it can be costly, and I have things to do as well. I love doing for you, but if it becomes a routine, something that's mandatory, it can be problem. There can be problems.
Other than financial things, what other ways can women contribute to a relationship?
It's almost like a loaded question, but because the first thing I want to say is, hey, let's do things around the house together. And I'll put it this way: we can help. Like I have a home, you have a home. Let's get my home straight one weekend, and let's get your home straight the next weekend. Let's spend time with our family. What else? I mean, there's not much I can think of that a woman can do other than be very supportive. I had a friend's mother passed away, and I was dating a officer at the time. And when my girlfriend found out that my friend's mom passed away, she went out of her way to get flowers to bring it to my friend, show appreciation. She did that on my behalf. Things like that are very helpful. I do love my African women. And the answer is partially yes. And I say this because if I met a young lady, maybe of non-African descent, there's certain things that I would like to see on her. I like to see full lips, that she's tanned, high cheekbones, and maybe a little, junk in the trunk. You heard that. I would consider that. And with me saying that, she might as well be African American. I think my first choice would definitely be African American, and they would make me the happiest. Could I find happiness with a non-African woman? Yes, I could. It would have to fall in my lap. I don't think I'll go looking for it, but if it happens, it happens, and the answer would be yes.
Now let me ask you this.
Yes.
In the times that we are in right now, with the whole Black Lives Matter, all lives matter, do you think if you were in a situation with a person of non-Afro descent, they would understand? I don't know what your stance is on that,
right,
but do you think they could understand how you're viewed in the world as a Black man?
Yes. There's no way I would be dating anyone who didn't understand the plight of Black men and Black people. You see it all the time. They should be as vocal as I would be about some of the injustices that happen to Black people,
And some of them are. Some of them died for the cause. There was a young lady in Ohio that died recently. She was struck by tear gas and some kind of freak accident, but she was a baby. She just graduated college, and she lost her life marching for Black lives. I know some people do have an understanding, and some people are out there fighting for us.
She was the type of woman that I liked. I met her in Maryland, and she was about 5'5". She had beautiful eyes, light brown eyes, and I liked a little thick, not chunky, but thick. She had nice thick legs, and she was smiling, and that attracted me. So I guess I made my move on her. I chose her because she was the type of woman that I liked. She had a nice personality. She had a nice smile. Well, we connected, and things worked out very well for us. Yeah, I want to go into that a little bit because I've always been this passive person, and it has not always benefited me. I'm like really Mr. Nice Guy, and there's a thin line that you ride between being nice and being naive, because people always want to get over on you.
Right.
And, being passive, you always want to be liked. You don't want to cross any lines, even if you realize that someone has told you something on a deceitful sly. You let it go because you don't want any trouble, you understand, and whatever, right? And I had to get out of that because too many times I was getting burned. I would see things that were suspicious, but I didn't say anything. I was not only shy, I was passive. Quick history of, I was married twice. Now, the first marriage, I was like 19, 20 years old, naive, wet behind the ears, and I didn't know much about relationships. So this woman comes along. She was older than me. I realized later on that she was heavy on drugs. All of a sudden, you see this and you want to say something, but the shy passiveness is like, no, you don't want to accuse anyone of doing drugs. That would be wrong. It caught up with me. I lost a lot of money dealing with her. We did get married because I didn't know how to say no But once I got out of the marriage, it was more of a learning experience. It was ugly, but it let me know that being passive will not always work, and you realize that there are some really mean people out there that will take advantage of you.
Well, why are you like that?
I don't know. I was always a shy kid growing up. I guess maybe I never had the right guidance about, standing up and being tough.
Let me tell you, I don't mean to cut you off.
Church too. Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. I was the only child. All my family lived in Georgia, so I didn't have anyone to fight for me when I went to school in Ohio. And I was shy and quiet. So my Aunt Kat used to tell me, Aunt Kat was really pretty. She looked like Lena Horne to me. Okay, she had that real pretty hair. She used to say, if anybody put their hands on you and you don't fight back, I'ma beat yo. Boop.
Right.
She told me that over and over. Okay, if anybody put their hands on you and you don't fight back, I'm gonna beat yo. Boop. So that taught me at a very young age, and I thank her for that, to fight back for myself. And I ended up developing a really thick exterior. Like, I am a sensitive person, but I will defend myself. I don't start nothing, but I'll fight back and I'll defend myself. And it was funny because she was a pretty woman and you wouldn't expect these words to come out of her mouth. That taught me to stand up for myself. And to this day, I still have that in me. Like, I'm going to defend myself every time. I'm not saying it's the perfect way or the right way.
Right.
I'm just curious as to why you would not.
I think a lot of it was because the church that I was in. I have nothing against church religion, but I was taught that turn the other cheek. They hit you on both cheeks, but find another cheek to turn.
What church was this?
And do unto others as you want those to do unto you, or however it goes. So I was nice to people, hoping people would be nice to me. It doesn't work. But I think that was one of the things that got me, turning the other cheek and wanting people to be as nice to me.
What denomination was it?
I don't even know.
Oh, okay. I grew up Pentecostal. Someone tried to hit me one time or attack me. My mother said if she would have touched you, I would have laid my Holy Ghost hands all over her body. So my mother was about that life.
Right.
You needed a Pentecostal church. Well, Al, thank you so much for your time and your insight and your expertise.
I hope what I was able to say to you, or people got something from my life experience and they can take with them.
And is there still hope out there for us single women?
Yes, there's still hope out there for you single women.
Okay.
Just be careful, but it's out there. Love is out there.
Thanks, Al. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.